morning, students. How are you all? Are you all fine? Hope that you all are fine. Take care of your health and also follow the instructions of government. Today I am here to teach you the first chapter of history, French Revolution. So first of all, let me clear what is the meaning of revolution. Revolution means forcible overthrow of a government or social order in favor of a new system. That means the system which was implemented in a country was not satisfiable to the citizens residing there. They are totally annoyed on the system. The people will be turning against the government. So they would like to go for a change. And some others may think about the new systems or may bring some suggestions in front of the public regarding the new systems or regarding the changes. When the existing government is not ready to accept these suggestions, then automatically the citizens will stand against the government or will gather together and fight against the government. Such activity is called revolution. The causes of revolution is gap between political mobilization of the people. That is one cause. Gap between political mobilization of the people, and the second one is inability to absorb the mobilized masses in the politics. That mobilization means what? The process of motivation. The process of motivation. The present government is having some aim in their mind. According to that, they are doing their activities. But the government is not able or couldn't communicate their aim to the citizen through the representatives of the citizen. In such circumstance, that a group of people will be against the activities of government. And the second aspect is, the reason is that which group the government could convince or could communicate. They couldn't absorb that group along with the politics, because they may be having many demands and these people couldn't fulfill. The government couldn't fulfill their demands, and the government may not be amicable or may not be flexible. In such circumstances, that is these groups which are already mobilized will go backward. Also, they also will be joining with the other group, and ultimately what will happen? A difference of opinion will taking place, and that when the difference of opinion is aggravating, that will ultimately enter into a conflict. That conflict is known as revolution. Recently, our government was trying to implement CAA, Community Amendment Act. What happened? government is having some ideas inside the mind of the persons, means main persons, but they couldn't communicate the ideas to the general public, and ultimately the public was having some doubts and some difference of opinion. They were totally confused and riots took place in Delhi and many other states. So that is a part of revolution. This is revolution. Okay, only the first part I am explaining, because without understanding what is revolution, you can't go ahead. That's why. Now let us go to the chapter. French Revolution. I am remembering that is page number 3. The first thing is, I am just giving the points and slight explanation. On 14 July 1789, the king ordered the troops to move to the city Paris. That was in the morning. The king ordered the troops to move to the city Paris. And before that, when the order came, this message spread throughout the country, and the citizens were in confusion. Why? Because already there was a difference of opinion. I told you 1789. Prior to that, the difference of opinion took place, not on in the year of 1789. So, as the King Louis XVI occupied the throne in the year of 1774, onwards, there was a difference between the citizens and the government. So when this news spread out, a rumor also spread out. That rumor was what? The king ordered the troops to move to the city to open a fire against the civilians or citizens. This was the rumor. Immediately, another message spread in the city, that is, these civilians decided to, or informed each other to gather at the town hall. So after hearing this message, nearly 7,000 civilians gathered near the town hall, and they started discussing about this order. And ultimately they all were in same opinion. The king may be ordering to open a fire against the citizens. So what they had done, after gathering, they decided to make certain groups, or they segregated into groups. They segregated into groups. I told you there was nearly 7,000 or more peoples. They segregated into groups and they marched towards the government buildings and offices. They marched towards the government buildings and offices. For what purpose? To find out the arms. Because you know that these troops are having arms. So to face a troop without arms is very difficult. So the troops are having arms in their hand. So to face them, What these civilians had decided? They want to get arms from the government buildings. They want to collect arms from the government buildings. So they went directly inside the government building and broke the buildings and also searched for the government building means government office, and also searched for the arms, but they couldn't get it. They couldn't get the arms. So then one segment, one group went or marched towards the eastern part of the city. Eastern part of the city or eastern part of Paris. So there they went directly to the fortress prison. Eastern part of city, the fortress prison is located, or fortress prison is situated in the eastern part of city, and the prison's name is the Bastille. They went directly, they marched towards the fortress prison. They went inside. They found out the arms. By collecting the arms, they fought against with the troops who were deployed there or who were delegated there or appointed there to take care of the prison. Fortress prison means the prison was guarded very well. Very well. There were enough and more troops to take care of the prison. Along with the troops, they fought, and ultimately the commander was murdered. The commander of the prison, the Bastille, was murdered. And not only that, they released the prisoners in the prison. There were only 7 prisoners. There were only 7 prisoners. They released them. And then what they had done, they had mutilated or destroyed or distracted the entire fortress prison into small pieces. Into small pieces. After destructing the prison, they collected the small pieces of the prison and went to the market and sold it. Why? To keep it as a memory of achievement of their aim. Their aim was to start fight against the king. And this Bastille was, the fortress prison was hated by the civilians or citizens because the king emphasizes or practices all cruel, despotic means cruel rules in that prison or orders in that prison. So anyhow, it was their aim, their motto to destroy it. They succeeded in that, and in memory of that, they collected the pieces and sold in the market. Whoever wish, they can purchase and keep it as a memory of their achievements. So this is the first phase or first stage of the revolution, or the revolution commenced from this incident. Okay, so let us go. Prior to that, there are some instances which is to be explained. Go to the next page, page number 4. You must read the textbook very carefully. If not, it will be difficult for you to study. Hear this summary and read the textbook, find out the meanings, okay, from the dictionary, and study. Okay. Now let us go to the fourth page. In the fourth page, what it is written? Louis XVI became king of France in 1774. In 1774, Louis XVI became the king of France. That time, Louis XVI was in the age of 19 to 20, in between 19 to 20. Okay, that is a small young age. And in the age of 20, he got married with the Princess of Austria. That her name is Mary Antoinette, and he was only 20 years that time. Okay, now what is the problem? Right from 1774, he started, or Louis XVI started his ruling. That from that time onwards, the treasury was empty. The treasury was empty. Nowadays also, and that days also, the Europeans have got a belief that those who are master and expert in fighting and winning the triumph, they are the good rulers. They are the good rulers. So, King Louis XVI also followed that philosophy. He also started wars. Due to the war, France's treasury became empty. The treasury is totally empty. And one more aspect is there. Britain, which is nearby France, was a nuisance to most of the countries in the world, because their behavior or ethics or philosophy is to fight with all the people, all the country people, and succeed in that attempt and keep them in as slaves. After conquering the countries, they will keep the citizens of the country as a slave. This is the nature of Britain. So what happened to France or King Louis XVI? He also was irritated with the nature of Britain, and he fought against Britain. And also one more thing, that time American countries, 13 colonies were against Britain, and their war was going on there. War was going on there. So Britain and the 13 colonies war was going on in that period, and what France done, supported American colonies. So while supporting the American colonies, a lot of money was spent. Prior to that, prior to this supporting, or before to supporting, nearly 1 billion livres were on debt by the France, or France took approximately 1 billion livres as debt from other sources or money lenders. Other sources means money lenders. When they were in debt, again they started supporting the American colonies, and the debt increased to 2 billion livres. Livre is the LIVRE is the currency used in France that time. Now it is not there. Okay. Now the debt aggravated or increased more than 2 billion. What happened? The money lenders got annoyed and they start taking interest, collecting interest on the total debt. Say this demand from the money lenders create more financial crisis or burden on France, because they were forced to pay too much money as interest. So this extra burden was unbearable to this ruling kingdom or empire, because prior to that they are maintaining the costly palace in Versailles. Versailles is a place in France, and there was a palace called palace there, and that palace was maintained by this King Louis, and it was very costly because very big palace. Okay, and in addition to that, now the burden of interest added up, and then maintaining of the army, court, universities, government offices, all this increased the financial crisis of France. So what the king decided to meet the crisis, his decision was to collect extra taxes. Already there is taxes, and beyond that he decided to increase the tax rate, extra taxes from the civilians, not from all civilians, that we will study later. So this decision was not absorbable by or swallowable by the civilians. That creates more differences in their mind, and that is one thing. And even then, after increasing the taxes, the government couldn't maintain their expenses, or the king couldn't maintain the expenses of France with that income. So King Louis decided to divide this French society into different estates. Estates means groups. French society into different groups. Estates means groups. Estates means groups. So they had decided to divide the society into three estates. That is clergy, noble, and businessmen, peasants, all that one group. That three groups. That groups I will teach you in the next class. But the pathetic decision or situation faced by the third group was that all burden of tax was imposed on them. The other two groups are enjoying the taxes, collecting the taxes and enjoying the life. But the third group is supposed to pay tax to both the other two groups. So this creates a big difference in the mind or an agitative mode in the mind. Okay, now today we will wind up here. In the next class I will teach you the 3 different groups and what all activities were going on. Please read all these pages and try to understand. Also use dictionary to find out the word meanings. Okay, today I am winding up the lecture. Okay, see you next class. Bye.